Most ultra races ask how quickly you can reach the finish. This one asks a different question. What happens when you slow down enough to hear the road?
The minute they opened the interstate, our town died at that moment. After the interstate was open, you could lay in the road and not get ran over because there was no traffic.
The cars disappeared. The businesses closed. The road was forgotten. But some people stayed. And decades later, a small group of runners began gathering outside an old barbershop in Seligman, Arizona, to travel 140 miles of that forgotten road on foot.
This pack of wild horses just came rumbling up. I mean, I heard it first, and you can hear it. It sounded like thunder.
You're really slowing down. You're going to be able to smell the flowers that grow on the side of Route 66. You're going to experience Route 66 like nobody else does.
5 years from now, what I think I'll remember about Route 66.
That's how I changed.
This is Places to Run. There was a time when Route 66 didn't need saving. It was alive. Families traveled west with everything they owned. Vacationers packed into station wagons, gas stations, motels, diners, roadside attractions. Every town had its own personality. And in Seligman, thousands of cars passed through every single day. For Clarissa Delgadillo, this wasn't history. It was childhood.
When I was growing up, Route 66 was still passing through our main street with 9,000 cars traveling in a 24-hour period. So there was a lot of activity in Seligman. My dad at the time had his barbershop and pool halls, so all the kids in town would go over to the pool hall. So I had a very adventurous, fun childhood growing up on Route 66.
A highway can move people toward a destination, but it can also move them around a community. Seligman didn't slowly fade. The world simply learned how to pass it without looking. One of the people who stayed was Clarissa's father, Angel Delgadillo. Not because he possessed some grand plan, not because he knew he was going to become the guardian angel of Route 66. He stayed because leaving wasn't much of an option. His family had a home, a business, a life. But who was going to buy any of it in a town the rest of America had decided to abandon? So Angel sat outside his barbershop. He waited for customers. And when occasional travelers wandered back onto the old road, he talked to them again and again. They told him some version of the same story.
They were all saying, when I was a little boy, when I was a little girl, this has got to be the road that my parents took me on to California. My dad says he heard it so much, he thought, what are these people looking for? They got the interstate that they wanted where they can travel from A to B at 75, 80 miles per hour. What are they coming back into our small community looking for? He thought they are looking for America of yesteryear.
America of yesteryear. Not a faster America, not a more convenient one. The America their parents showed them through the window of a moving car. Angel understood that people weren't returning because Route 66 was efficient. They returned because it remembered them. Saving it would take 10 years. Angel and his wife traveled the road, speaking with other businesses, owners whose towns had also been bypassed. 15 people eventually formed the historic Route 66 Association of Arizona, the first association of its kind. They wrote letters, they made calls, and for a long time, they were ignored.
But my dad says they don't know who they are up against. I was born during the Depression, and I do not know the word no.
In April of 1988, Route 66 received its historic designation in Arizona. Other states began asking how Seligman had done it. Associations formed across the rest of the route. The signs returned, businesses reopened. The town the interstate had nearly erased became the birthplace of historic Route 66.
This is where Route 66 was put back on the map. Where Route 66, the signs came back up. Route 66 is now preserved, promoted, and protected because of what the people in Seligman and people along Route 66 here in Arizona did to protect it.
A road survived because 15 people decided that forgotten didn't have to mean gone, and because one barber didn't know the word no. Now, every November, runners gather outside the Delgadillo family's gift shop. It is cold, it is early, and they're preparing to cover 140 miles of historic Route 66, not sealed away inside a vehicle, not watching it blur through a windshield. They will feel the road beneath their feet.
I've been to every Ultrarun start line since it started. My dad did start the first Ultrarun off, and I have done it since then. I was taken aback about these runners who are willing to run for 3 days, walk a little, run a little. I was amazed of their tenacity and their willingness to do this.
Angel helped save Route 66 by convincing people to slow down and return to it. Ultra runners took that message a little too literally. One of those runners is Nick Bautista. He's an ultra runner, a coach, and the winner of last year's race.
I'm Nick Bautista. I'm an ultra runner. I'm also a running coach, and I won Route 66 last year in 33 hours.
33 hours through the desert, through darkness, over damaged pavement and winding mountain roads. Yet, when I asked him what made this event different, he didn't start with his winning time. He talked about the people.
The group and the people, it's totally laid back. It's totally chill. It's not cliquey at all. In terms of the race itself, in terms of the landscape, it's gorgeous. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
There are races designed to feel like major productions, loud music, crowded expos, corporate banners. A finish line engineered to make you feel like you've entered something enormous. Route 66 feels different. It doesn't place a spectacle on top of the location. The location is the spectacle. You aren't just running a course that happens to be in Arizona. You are moving through a living piece of American history. Early in the race, Nick pulled ahead. The road stretched into the desert. Mountains sat in the distance. And then he heard something coming toward him.
This pack of wild horses just came rumbling up. I mean, I heard it first, and you can hear it. It sounded like thunder, and they're just running, and I'm like, I got tears coming down my face. I'm like, they're just horses, man. But it was the greatest thing I ever experienced.
Maybe that's what these distances do. They exhaust the part of us that tries to remain composed. Eventually, the guard comes down. A sunrise becomes more than a sunrise. Wild horses become enough to make a grown man cry. The road stops being something beneath you and becomes something happening to you.
Ultra running tends to break you down no matter who you are, and that's just part of it. And I think if you don't allow it to do that, and if you don't allow yourself to be humble, I think this is the wrong sport for you.
A person driving Route 66 can see the road. A runner has to feel it.
You don't get to feel the disrepair of the asphalt under your feet. You don't get the cactus needles stuck in your shoes, which did happen to me. But you're just, you're twisting your ankles, you're bumping into stuff. I fell twice, broke a couple of ribs. Whether it's good or bad, you're kind of literally putting your blood out there on the road and literally leaving a piece of yourself out there. You get to taste and smell the desert air. You know what? You can't do that in a car.
Clarissa described the same difference from the other side.
But once you're on foot and you're walking Route 66, you're going to see the little animals in the road. You're going to see the javelinas maybe crossing the road, or a road runner. You're really slowing down. You're going to be able to smell the flowers that grow on the side of Route 66. You're going to experience Route 66 like nobody else does.
There is a price for experiencing a place that closely. The cracked pavement, the cold, the heat, the cactus needles, the broken ribs. And somewhere in the middle of all that suffering, the flowers growing beside the road. Every beautiful race eventually collects its debt. For Nick, one payment came during the night outside Kingman. The road was black. Cars moved past him at highway speeds. And far ahead, an intersection light changed from green to red and back to green again and again, without appearing to get any closer.
I'm looking at this green light. It's turning red. It's turning green. It's turning... I'm running all through the night. It's not getting any closer. I'm like, where the fuck is this thing? And it felt like I was running on a treadmill and just looking at this little light. Eventually, it finally got to the intersection.
He reached his crew and began complaining about the section. One of his crew members listened, until she didn't.
She just yelled at me, and she's like, well, you're here now. So I'm like, all right.
Well, you're here now. Possibly the most accurate crew advice in ultra running history. Route 66 forces patience, because the desert lets you see too much. You can see where you're going long before you reach it. The finish line exists somewhere beyond the horizon, but staring at it won't make it arrive any faster.
I actually have to do the work to stay present and be right here in this little bubble and experience every little thing, because all of that stuff that's ahead of me, it'll eventually get here. I'll get there.
The interstate was created to remove waiting. The ultra marathon gives it back to you, mile by mile, hour by hour, until the only place you can survive is the place directly beneath your feet. After Kingman, the road begins climbing toward Sitgreaves Pass. Old Route 66 twists through the Black Mountains in steep switchbacks. For generations of travelers, this was one of the road's most intimidating passages. For a runner reaching it after a night on foot, it can feel like another world.
As soon as the sun started to rise, it's just this desert landscape and these mountains that are like purple and green and red, and they're changing as the sun's rising. And then you're leading into Sitgreaves Pass. Everybody needs to experience Sitgreaves Pass. It's just these steep, winding switchbacks, and there's burrows looking at you from on top of the cliffs, and it's just wild.
This was where the race temporarily stopped being a race. You spend months training to move faster. Then, the road gives you something beautiful enough to make speed feel irrelevant. No position, no pace, no person behind you. Only sunrise on the mountains and a road that almost disappeared. Of course, no meaningful exploration of American history is complete without asking the most important question. Where are we eating? This is Places to Run, after all. We run the race, we learn the history, and then we replace several thousand calories as irresponsibly as possible. Route 66 has always been about more than where the road takes you. It's the places you stop along the way. The diners, the neon signs, the food you probably wouldn't order anywhere else. And when I asked people who actually know this stretch of road where you're supposed to eat, the same places kept coming up.
I'm going to have to say the Snowcap, the Delgadillo Snowcap is my top favorite here in Seligman, outside of my mom's kitchen. My Uncle Juan, my dad's oldest brother, built that in 1950 out of scrap lumber he collected from the railroad. They have a seasoned grill that will make the best hamburger you've ever had. They also throw in a little bit of Mexican flair with green chili cheese burritos, tacos. They do great French fries, malts, shakes.
A hamburger, green chili, fries, and a milkshake? That's not lunch. That's a recovery protocol. Clarissa also recommends Lilo's West Side Cafe for large portions and homemade desserts. Nick Bautista was even more specific.
Lilo's, which has the best damn carrot cake on planet Earth.
Not Seligman, not Arizona, planet Earth. That is a claim that this show has a responsibility to investigate. Now, I haven't experienced these miles yet. Right now, I only know them through maps, training plans, photographs, and the stories of people who have already left part of themselves on the road. But this November, my family and I will stand in Seligman. I'll see the gift shop. I'll eat the burger. I will probably conduct an aggressive investigation into that carrot cake. And then early in the morning, I'll stand outside the place where Angel Delgadillo once cut hair and begin running toward the Colorado River. Angel Delgadillo spent years trying to convince the world that an old road still mattered. He believed people were searching for America of yesteryear. Maybe he was right. But maybe we aren't only searching for the past. Maybe we're searching for a pace at which we can finally notice our own lives. A place slow enough to speak with a stranger, to taste the desert air, to hear wild horses before we see them, to recognize the flowers growing beside the broken pavement. Route 66 survived because people came back. The race continues that return, one exhausted runner at a time.
We want everyone to have their own Route 66 story and to become part of our community as well.
Nick Bautista finished first in 33 hours. But when I asked what he believed he would remember 5 years from now, he didn't say winning. He didn't say the time. He didn't say the buckle or the pain cup.
5 years from now, what I think I'll remember about Route 66 is how I changed.
That is the promise of the lesser-known race. There may be fewer runners, fewer banners, and fewer people waiting at the finish, but sometimes the places receiving the least attention have the most to say. This has been Places to Run. The place, the race, the plate, and the story connecting all three. Until next time, run scared.